Hi, everyone. So I am back, and not just with any normal podcast episode, but if you've been following A Haunting at the Beverly Center, my series, this is the fourth installment. Now, I know it's been a while since the last two episodes, which was released about a year ago, but I still have so much more content to share. This has just been put away for a while, and I was doing some other things, but I am back and I am going to publish all of this content that I still have on the Beverly Center. And just within this past year, so much has changed there. I've been there a few times, and I was there a couple weeks ago actually. And the last two episodes were focused on the Forever 21. And wouldn't you know, it's closing. All of the Forever 21s are closing. So I went there, and it was creepy to say the least. It was the beginning of their closing process. I don't know if they're officially closed as of now, but I asked the girl and she said that it would be closing sometime in April. So we'll see. I might try to go back again before it closes, but it's just ironic that I'm picking up where we left off, and that was about a year ago with those last two episodes around the Beverly, around Forever 21, and it's closing. So I'm so curious to see what becomes of that space. And the mall looks pretty different now in terms of like retail and where stores have moved and what has closed. There's apparently a bowling alley there now, an arcade, a gym, which I don't know if it's open yet. So I'm definitely going to have to go back and investigate and get some stories. But I have all these other stories that I haven't shared yet first. So this episode's going to focus primarily on the 8th floor. I have a few stories. It's two different interviews with one girl who shares about her time visiting the mall when she was younger on the 8th floor in the movie theater, and then also another girl who had worked in one of the dress stores on the 8th floor. So both talk about the 8th floor, and then I have the interview with Erica Altmiller, as you guys remember, the psychic medium who had come along with me to read the space. She didn't know anything about the space before I brought her in, and she is at the end of this episode. So I really am trying to tie all of the 8th floor together. The last two episodes were Forever 21, which is on the 8th floor, and this is all of my content for the 8th floor. Also, disclaimer, I apologize for the audio volumes that will kind of vary throughout this episode. I was piecing together the interviews that I had with what I'm recording now on the microphone, so I know that it gets super loud at some points and then it's quiet at others, so I do apologize for that. So also, speaking of the 8th floor, what was next to Forever 21, Uniqlo has closed down, and that was abandoned. There was that pop-up Christmas burlesque show that isn't there right now because it's April. The Vans had closed a while back, and then there was a dress store that had also closed. So literally the only business on the 8th floor is the H&M. That's the only thing that's hanging on. I did see that they're bringing a Titanic exhibit in to the Uniqlo space on the 8th floor, so I'm really excited to see what this is. It was like a virtual reality Titanic exhibit, so I can only imagine like if they had artifacts from the Titanic, how that would mix with the energies already at the Beverly Center, especially the 8th floor. So yeah, that's going to be a wild ride, and I'm really excited to like get back into it. So that was my introduction. Now I want to focus on some of the stories that I've collected over the past couple years there of workers, of people who have been there and had experiences. I'm going to try to keep it as organized as I can. I'm going to start on the 8th floor, and then that way we can kind of work our way down based off of how long each interview is. So since the last two episodes, like I said, dealt with Forever 21, so I'm going to just start on the 8th floor, and I'm going to share in between people just kind of like my notes and my commentary and different things that I can add to it. Because there's so much, and I think I told you guys in the episodes before, like I literally had a ghost map. It was a map of the floor plan of the mall, each level, including the businesses outside, and I would highlight which people had experiences where and what color and what wing was most active, and this happened at this time. Like, it was so in depth, and I want to find a way to share it because obviously on the podcast you can't see it, so I might do a YouTube video or something like that. as a way to share it, and I definitely want to update it now that it's been like 1 to 2 years since I've seen anything or talked to anyone there. So yes, without further ado, I'm going to start with our first interview. Her name is Sherelle, and I actually met her outside of her store. She was working on the 7th floor, but she wanted to share some stories from a while back when she wasn't working at the mall and she was younger and she would just come here with her family. So I'm going to let her talk, but just notice that she says that she's always had like this feeling, which is something that so many people describe. It's just this like weird feeling of either feeling watched or just uncomfortable or just something being off. So one of her stories takes place in the old movie theater, which was located on the 8th floor, close to where Forever 21 is located, which also is where the suicide had occurred. And then the second story takes place in the Uniqlo, which is now empty, which was also the place of the food court.
Totally. So I've only been working in the mall for about a week, but I have been coming here for literally my entire 23 years of life, which is a very long time. And the fact that I came across someone who has also gotten the spooks from this place is really trippy to me, because I have more than a few stories to share. The first thing that I thought of when I met Tim was about that time where I was watching Speed Racer for the second time at the old movie theater that used to be at this mall. And it was like a really already spooky vibe for a movie theater. It was just like run down. It gives you the creeps. It's the kind of place where you're just like, why is it up and running? Why is it in business? But for some reason, that's where we chose to go watch the movie. And I remember it was just my family and 2 other small families, and we were all in the front rows because it was a small movie theater to begin with, and there was just several rows behind us. And I remember in the back of the rows behind us and the other couple of families kept hearing some weird sounds, like rustling or something, and like I don't know that I would call it steps, not like someone was walking, just maybe like incremental, and then it stopped. But I remember it was mostly rustling, and us and the other 2 families at the end, we were like, what was that? Like, no one was behind us, and we were all within eye shot of each other. So we knew it was none of us that was moving, and it was always like you would hear it when there was like suddenly silent scenes. You know what I mean? Like if like music faded out or something, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, that's not part of the audio of the movie. That's behind us. What is that? And all 3 of the families, like mine included, we kept turning around and looking. And I was a kid, so obviously that scared the crap out of me. Yeah. But then I remember, me and my mother being the superstitious Persians that we are, after that we never went back there. And then another thing I was just telling Tim about was the time where my friends and I in middle school, we came to the mall, and this is back when they had shut down the food court and they were renovating it for God knows what, because that area of the mall is still closed off to this day, and the only thing they've done since is add a store there, Uniqlo. But it was more under construction back in those days because they had just more recently closed down the food court. So my friends and I, being the 12 and 13-year-olds that we were like, okay, let's mess around and break into this closed off area because, for the thrill of it, why not? Because we want to do something we're not supposed to do. And we like went in there with the intention of just kind of walking around. But I remember within I swear we couldn't have been there for more than 45 seconds. Within a minute, we were like, this place is creepy. Leave. And it's not like it was dark or it was a little dim, but it's not like it was something where you would think anything of it just by looking at it. It was a vibe. It was just a really, really off vibe. And yeah, my friends and I, we were kind of troublemakers back in the day, so it's not like something like that would have necessarily thrown us off so easily. We just got a bad gut feeling. It was me and 2 other girls, and we were just like, excuse my language, we were like, fuck no, leave, get out of here. So we left pretty quickly and never went back. Actually, we never messed around in this mall again. We took our antics to Century City. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Totally.
So my second guest, her name is Janice, and she became my friend, and we would talk off and on for a few weeks, and she would just tell me like everything that was going on. She was oftentimes the only one working in this store, and it was called Faeriesty, and they sold like prom dresses and different gowns and mostly just like dresses, but it was a decent sized store, and this is located on the 8th floor, which was between the Van store, which had closed, and Uniqlo, which is now closed, and Faeriesty is now closed. But I'm lucky that I connected with her, and she just told me about like some of her experiences there. It was definitely like an empty feeling, like the store was filled to the brim with dresses, but it just had this like lonely, empty feeling, which I'll let her describe. She mentions that there's always like a presence with you, like it always feels like someone is with you. She mentions that the speakers cut out, which we constantly in our store had a lot of technical issues with the sound not working, speakers not working, and they say that that's something that spirits can kind of manipulate. Also, she said it's a lot of kid energy, which we've heard multiple times before, that it's like the kids are running around, they're playing, they're pulling on the same dresses. And she mentions also that she had talked to someone working at Uniqlo, and they had also mentioned that it was like coming into a messy store, like things had happened at night. Some people say that it's an earthquake, which we all know it's not an earthquake, but things would just be like thrown across the shelves or just on the floor, and there's no really explanation. So I'm gonna let her take over, and you could hear her interview.
So first coming in, as soon as you get up the escalator, you could feel it. That's why now I take the service elevator, because that eerie kind of someone's watching you feeling, you don't feel when you come like through the mall. But every time I come up the escalator, as soon as I get midway, like where you can see H&M, that's when you start feeling like I'm always looking behind me. So I feel like someone's walking with you. Like it literally does not stop till you wrap around, come in, and then that's when it's just like, okay, what's going to happen today? So this section over here, these black dresses right here, these ones in particular are the ones that I was saying would not stay on the hanger. That's why the hangers are like bent up like that. That's the only way I could get them to stay. And I knew it wasn't the dress, because even there'll be sometimes where they will just fall. Yeah. All of them. Over here, though, don't mind me limping, but over here, specifically this rack, always. And I don't know if you noticed, it's quiet in here. Our speakers went out the other day. Again, but this time permanently. It won't even connect. They just bought these. So I know it's not the speakers. I don't know what's going on, but we had another lady come in here too, and she was like, this place gives her the shivers, like she was getting goosebumps just walking in. She was like, I don't know if you feel weird, but she's like, I have to go. I'm sorry. She's like, I just feel weird. And that, again, these fell. And it's literally all of these. And as you see, they're on the hanger good. This one's looped right there. They're on the hanger good.
They're on there.
There should be no reason why they should be falling off. Literally, this is the only one not fall off, because the owner tried to say it was earthquakes. Well, then all of them should be falling, not this one, and then that one specific green dress that I was telling you over here. Same dress every time. Whether, and no one comes back here. But it's literally like someone just pulled it off. It's loud. See, the hanger is bent because it keeps falling with like such an aggressive force. It's the only hanger like that. The only one. This is the only dress that does it. None of them do it. Even if I put them close together, and these should be falling off more than this dress. Yeah, because
those look more delicate, like the pressure.
You can't even touch this dress without it falling off. But the fact that this one is the one falling, and then I don't know if you feel it back here, it feels eerie back here.
It's just like a presence. It's almost like goosebumps.
Yes.
On the, the back of your neck.
Yes. And it's really it's been getting stronger because this happens every day now. There's times where I come in and I know no one's been in here. And remember I was telling you dresses would be messed up. I asked the owners, they weren't in here. So it's like, and we checked the cameras. Nobody was in here.
And on the cameras, does it show the dress just falling randomly by itself?
Fall.
Wow.
And I'm just like, but let him tell it, earthquakes.
I know that's been a common excuse with other stores too. They say, oh, you know, it's just earthquakes or the way that the building's built.
And then our bad juju that's been happening between the music and our lives and the sales. Everyone walks in here and they walk out. Yeah. No one even comes towards the back anymore. Or if they do, they're walking right out. No one talks that much when they come in here. We used to get little girls that come in here all the time who thought it was just the prettiest things. Now they'll come up to like maybe where that yellow dress is, do a wraparound and leave. And you know, kids in their energy, for sure, they can sense it. But it's definitely been getting worse, for sure. Like I've noticed even the owners haven't been here at all. They came for the first time yesterday in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
I hadn't seen them at all. It's literally just been me here. So I'm like, oh my goodness. And then right now, literally before you walked in, I had to come and pick that dress up again.
Oh, geez.
And it was literally like the 6th time that's happened since I got here at 12:30. So I'm just like, there's definitely something. I don't know if it's mad. I don't know if it's angry. I kind of feel like it's a little kid sometimes because the way the dresses will be played with. You feel like someone's doing this. Like that's all you'll hear is this.
Yeah. Like
someone's playing in the dresses. And then I'll come look. No dresses are moving, but you can hear the hangers rattling. I was like, oh, God. Like, oh, God, no.
And you mentioned, like, even the hot spot, just even that right side, that right wall over
there. This wall in particular, because this is where our speakers are at. And they're just out. Yeah. They're out. And it's on, this camera won't even work.
And it's interesting because the spot next to it was the Van store, but that's been empty for a while.
Yeah.
And then next to that is Forever 21.
Oh, yeah. I went into Forever 21 the other day, and yeah, it was very uncomfortable. I went in there for a Hello Kitty outfit, came right back out. But yeah, this whole side of our wall does not work. I'm not really sure what's going on, but between this section shaking and dresses dropping, it feels like there's angry on this side and a little kid back here. But like they just won't leave.
Yeah.
Because you feel it from when you're walking up the stairs, as if someone's helping you get up the stairs.
And even if, in my own personal experience, by like where the Santa's Secret is, like the old food court, that right hallway back there, it's like this feeling, but it's even amplified.
And I saw what you were talking about. It's huge in there. I was like, oh my God. But even the people over there have been talking about how it feels weird up here. And I talked to one of the security guards, and he says he doesn't even like coming up here because it feels weird, and they feel like because of the energy up here, that's why information doesn't send people up here. And that's why people don't even know that we have an 8th level, because the mall kind of just wants to forget about what happened. But it's happening on the whole like floor kind of right now. Because I talked to Uniqlo, and they experience stuff too, where they'll come in from the day before and it looks like someone ransacked the store.
Wow.
No earthquakes, no nothing. But I told them we were getting the same thing, but it's always the same dresses. So keep that in mind. It's not like different areas. It's always this rack right here, that green dress right there, and then you just hear chingling of the hangers throughout the day, to the point where I'm getting up thinking that someone's in here.
Yeah.
No one's there. And I'm like, I know I'm blind, but I know I can hear.
There's not like drafts of wind. It's not like we have the air conditioning
here. The AC isn't blowing. Literally quiet. That's why when that dropped right now, it's like, okay, someone's in here. Nope, nothing. And then these dresses.
Well, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Of course.
And if you want to introduce yourself, you're welcome to say your
I'm
name.
Janice Anderson. They can find me on Instagram, Nisi90. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Janice. And I just wanted to wrap up with us talking about the 8th floor, or at least the content that I have so far on the 8th floor, with my interview with Erica Altmiller, who, if you guys remember from the last episode, she is the psychic medium that I picked up. She didn't know where we were going, and I took her to the Beverly Center. So she came into this blindly, not knowing any stories or anything here, and she was so spot on throughout the entire thing, and there's more to come with this, but I wanted to share this snippet of her and I and our friend Nikki on the 8th floor, her just kind of reading the space, and it is very telling, and it goes along with what other people share as well. And I also was just going to ask Erica, does it feel, this is the top floor, the 8th floor,
Yeah.
Does it feel like like you said, kind of like they didn't want to be cleared, like there's a lot going on? Is it like a vortex energy to where there's just so much happening, and this is like the height of it? Like
It's like a pressure in my chest, like, is overwhelming, because it's almost like, I don't know how some of these people work here. They probably have bad anxiety or have debilitating anxiety, and some of them probably have no clue why. But yeah, and it's crazy to put, Santa's type of secret thing.com up here, because it's like that positive energy, you know what I mean, of like Christmas and stuff. The ghost, like death becomes her. It's like, where's my Botox, man? But no, there's a heaviness up here that I think, because I'm so focused when I go out, like if it's grocery shopping or shopping, I'm zoned on purpose. Yep. That I couldn't figure out last time I was here why that was happening. Same. So, makes sense.
Well, I feel very valid.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're so welcome. I'm, like I said, it's when that guy started pushing through, he did not want me there. And I said, I'm not going to make you leave. And then he was let up a little bit.
Okay, so this next part, when Erica is speaking, the three of us are actually on the 8th floor, and we walk back down one of the service hallways. Now, it's behind an abandoned cafe, or at least when you're listening to this, hopefully that's what it is. Maybe they'll replace it, but it's like a little abandoned cafe, and on the other side is H&M, and it's this hallway that you go down. And this, for me, is the scariest part of the entire mall. Like, my body reacts. I have chills. Thinking about it gives me like the heebie-jeebies. So you walk down, and at least for myself, I notice if I turn to the left, I don't feel anything as much, but to the right, there's just this feeling of dread and heaviness that I can feel so deep within me. And this is where we walk down this part, and I take Erica. She hasn't been there before, and I want to just see what she thinks of the space, what she reads of it. I had a paranormal encounter in this area. I had gone up. It goes to the left a little bit, so it's just kind of like a long hallway, and it turns to 2 double doors. And I had gone up there with a coworker before just to explore a bit, and we walked up to these double doors. We didn't touch it, and the doors shook. We didn't even touch it, and the doors were shaking as if like it was settling into place. So we were so scared. We turned around and we just ran back. But just the feeling there is so inexplainable, and I'm curious to any of you guys listening, like if you've been there or if you go there, just let me know if you guys have any similar experiences. I did find out that in this area there was a different suicide that had happened back in the days where there was the food court. Someone had jumped off of the wall landing below, which I think at the time was a Chipotle, kind of where one of the entrances to the garages and the valet is. And that area was close-ish to the area I'm speaking of now with the double doors. So that is what one person told me, is that's why they think it's a little heavy up there in that specific area. But I'm going to let Erica take it away. And like I said, I'm curious if you guys have had any experiences there.
Ooh, hi. No wonder the pounding music's back here. It's where all the chaos is. So they strategically didn't even know they put it back here to drown out almost. Yeah, but they were drowning out this is a distraction for them to be able to do what they want here.
Now, is this different over here, what you sense over here?
Yes. But it's like they're all in cahoots. So it's like everybody feels the same about their space. You know, this is going to sound so crazy, but it's almost like a drug dealer that owns their corner. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I own this space over here. That's your street over there. You know, that's the like gangster type of energy that I was picking up on. Like, that's how much they're annoyed, like, with one another, but yet they will come together under certain circumstances. It's wild. And like I said, this chaos, that was all pushed to this corner up here.
The chaos is as far as like the production?
Like, yeah, or... it's like loud, and like they can kind of like float around here and cause more chaos, where they'll just blame it on something in there. So they, you know what I mean? It's almost like it's a free for all. And I do feel like, not satanic, but like I feel a dark energy.
And it's interesting that you said that. One of the only things I'm going to say is this area, from where we turned over there down here, is the darkest part of the mall that I've found.
Oh, wow.
I have goosebumps. I've had a weird encounter here against this door with it just moving on its own. I feel like someone's watching me. And that's I'm not going to say much, but I did want to share that
it's satanic. Like, it's more that energy. Dark. So darker energy, that could be poltergeist too, because they have the opportunity. They know how to move objects. It's like made up energy that of anger and stuff like that a lot of these spirits can really take on. But those are the only ones that I've seen move stuff, and they are hard to get rid of because, trust me, they think that they really own the whole place. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's almost like you got your space, I got my space, but then it's like I said, it's like they all come in cahoots together, certain different ones. But this is the darkest for sure. I agree. You're spot on. Because it's like emotionally like a lot of pressure in like my heart, and like just like it's like almost like it can take your breath away. Does that make sense? Like it's almost like energy. Yeah, it's almost like get out of here. You know what I mean?
Nikki, do you feel?
And it's I'm hot. Feel me? I feel warm.
Oh, that yeah.
I feel.
It's wild.
It's affecting us in different ways.
Yeah, and I.
Like,
but now I just got cold. So it's like hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold.
Like, we've been feeling
but that's because they're like, who are these people? Why do they know we're here? You know what I mean? They're not real happy. Yeah. But that's, you know. But it's almost like a chest pushing. Yeah. And it's almost like they can like physically hurt people.
Yeah.
So anytime I feel any physicality or touching, then that's a lot. Like, it's not good. Yeah, I wouldn't want to work back here ever. That'd be a lot.
I would have liked back here.
So as you guys heard, we all were feeling something very heavy there. I found it really interesting that Erica had touched on territories and kind of how they own or are in charge or hang out in certain areas. There's definitely many different spirits within the whole mall, but throughout each and talking to different people on different levels, it seems like a lot of the stories are consistent with certain areas, as you'll come to further find out as we go through the mall. But definitely on the 8th floor, I think that's one of the scariest places. The heaviest place for sure was that area, and the production that was happening at the time was that Christmas burlesque show, and they tend to have like big productions there where there's a lot of energy and they're performing every night, and then it's completely dead, quiet, and empty, which is chilling and terrifying. So thank you guys for listening. Like I said, this is my recap of all of my footage from the 8th floor that I had. It included the 2 interviews with the girls and then Erica from our time together when we visited together. So I'm continuing to look forward to more stories. I have some more to post from the other 2 levels, but if you know of anything or if you've had any experiences, please reach out. This is something that's ongoing, and it's been ongoing for years, so I want it to continue. I appreciate you guys listening, and if you have any questions or suggestions, please reach out. And if you're enjoying this episode and this series, please consider leaving me a 5-star review. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys, and I look forward to our next episode.